Happy Monday, everyone. It's Kimberly Beer here with Make It Happen Monday. One thing you can do this week to better market your business. Today's episode is going to be about establishing social proof. And this is all about gaining trust before the sale. So social proof has become a really big deal. If we look at how our marketing or how we as consumers buy things now, we really are attached to what other people think. Now, that is not new in human psychology. That's been around for a really long time. But the internet has not been around for a really long time. And the internet, the web, digital marketing, provides a lot of capability for us to check in before we actually buy something as a consumer. So it's really important from the business owner's perspective that we really understand what social proof is and how we can get it. So we're going to dive into that a little bit today, at least on the surface level, so you can take a look at your business and kind of do an assessment and see if you are getting enough social proof out there in front of your consumers, or if maybe you need to put a little bit more time and effort into creating social proof so that sales process goes a little more seamlessly for your customers. All right, so let's talk about how do you establish social proof. So for me, there's 4 really categories of social proof for small businesses. Now, there's a whole nother set of categories if you are a big or a large corporation or a big brand or even a really large medium-sized business, that business that's really at a different level. What I'm talking about here today are the people who listen to this YouTube episode, and those tend to be small businesses. And for small businesses, social proof can come from one of 4 sources: customers, influencers, affiliations, and certifications. All 4 of those provide a level of kind of certified or proven trust to a consumer who has really no dealings with your business yet. So they can look at what your customers say, how many followers you have, how big your customer base or your social base is, and establish the fact that a lot of people like you, or a lot of people talk about you, or a lot of people give you testimonials or good star ratings, therefore you must be trustworthy. Then you can also look at other people who have already gained the consumer's trust, and now those people are trustworthy, are trusting you as the small business, and therefore you're kind of borrowing their credibility to build trust with potential consumers. And then affiliations, which work kind of similarly to influencers, except those tend to be things where you get the trust borrowed on the fact that you have an association with a organization or a product or something like that. And then there's certifications, which are third parties that say, hey, we've looked into this particular business and we feel that they're trustworthy, or this is where we rate them, or this is what we found out when we looked at their background. So let's dive a little deeper into each of those 4 categories. So your consumers or your customers are actually the easiest ones, I think, to get involved with first. We all have at least one happy customer walking around, right? And chances are you probably have quite a few more happy customers out there. So social proof with your customers begins with things like testimonials, reviews, recommendations, ratings. All of those are really important factors when someone comes to look at your business on social media, or when they Google you or do a little bit of background searching on your organization and your business, and how you're presenting yourself out there to consumers, whether it be in the digital world or even in the real world via networking. So testimonials, reviews, recommendations, ratings, comments, all of those things are really important. What I think is less important are our actual customer counts. I don't feel from a consumer perspective that we put a lot of credibility as a culture in the exact number of followers that a business has. Small businesses are small businesses. The consumer does not expect them to have 1 million followers or 1 million likes or have a really huge reach. As long as that reach or like count seems comparable to where the business is at in their world. Does that make sense? I hope. So I wouldn't worry about how many people like your Facebook page or how many followers you have on Instagram. And by the way, those counts are very platform specific. You'll always have more followers and likes on Facebook if you're using it as a platform to reach customers than you will on Instagram, because Instagram is a little bit more intimate platform. YouTube subscribers are even harder to come by. So it depends upon the platform that you're in exactly where that count will be. And it also depends on how you're using that platform, which often is an indication of how your consumer is using it. For example, it's really hard to sell business services directly on Facebook. It has to be a really indirect sales process. So a lot of times agencies and business to bees and business consulting will have more connections on LinkedIn maybe than they do likes or followers on Facebook. It's very platform specific. So, but the count is important for you to start looking at and see if it is in relation to where you want to be on that particular platform and with that particular group of consumers. The testimonials, the reviews, the recommendations, and the ratings, those are all much more important. And you should strive to be able to get as many of those as you can, especially the really positive ones. And so I always encourage my customers to make sure that they record testimonials. When a customer voluntarily tells you how much they love you, be sure to whip out your cell phone and ask them if you can record that. Even if you're not going to show the video, at least to capture their words and get their buy-in on the fact that you can publish it. Because here's the reality about testimonials and recommendations. Oftentimes our customers will forget to make them on their own. It doesn't mean that they don't feel it. It doesn't mean that they don't want to. It just simply means they're busy people and don't often remember once they get away from your business. Your business's building is not often as important to them as it is to you. So take it upon yourself to do a little proactivity when it comes to getting people to provide testimonials. Ask for reviews, ask for recommendations, ask for ratings. Make it as easy and as painless as possible for your customers to be able to provide those for you. If you are a travel service like a hotel or something along those lines, or a bed and breakfast, butchered that one, didn't I? Bed and breakfast, then what you might want to do is to print up little cards with your TripAdvisor information on it. If you rely on Google ratings, make sure you let people know to give you a rating. Restaurants it's really important that you have good ratings. Brick and mortar stores, it's good, really good thing for you to have good ratings on Google. So encourage your customers by providing them as much information as you possibly can. And if you can do it for them, sometimes you can't, like with Google reviews, but if you can do it for them, then by all means, step up to the plate and get it done, because your social proof will go up because you got proactive. Other things that are important when it comes to social proof on social media are comments, shares, and hashtags. Hashtags are important because you need to tell your customers what hashtags to use on social. One, that's going to encourage them to post, and two, it's going to mean that when other people are searching around for it, when you and your customers use a consistent hashtag, it means that people are going to be able to find the correct amount of information, and they'll see a lot of posts around that particular hashtag. And guess what? That provides social proof. So customers are probably the most obvious way of social proof, but there are other ways. Another one is influencers. So these are people like industry experts, celebrities, friends. So, your brand has those super customers who go out and talk to their friends. So that's kind of what that means. Crowds and ambassadors for your specific brand. These are people who already have a following separate from you, but that following is inclusive of your consumer target market. So when I'm talking about influencers, it wouldn't make sense for someone who is trying to sell an equine related or horse related product to have an influencer in the construction industry. Does that make sense? So you want to get influencers that share a common target market with you. And that kind of sounds like a no-brainer, but sometimes I think the influencer marketing gets a little bit confusing for people because they don't quite know who to reach out to. So think about who influences the people in your customers' industry. Who do they follow? Who do they listen to? Every industry has their own set of influencers. And when you find one that is in alignment with your brand, in alignment with your mission, and in alignment with your message, then that influencer is probably a good influencer for you to reach out to and see if you cannot get some marketing or social proof marketing from them. Now, the way that would work is that they would provide a review, or maybe they'd write a blog post about you. Maybe they'll mention you or publish photos about you, possibly use your hashtags. If you have a product, you can do product placement with them. If you have a service, maybe they could do an interview if they have a public forum, such as a podcast or a YouTube show or something like that. You can show up in their courses. If they teach an online or offline course, if they do something with education, you could show up there and solve a problem for them. Because a lot of times, especially in the business industry, influencers will be partnered with somebody who provides a service to the people that they support. In other words, it's all that downstream, right? So they create jobs. The influencer creates jobs for your type of a business. And in that case, they'll want to highlight you if they do any kind of online education. Another way is to even be more direct and get them to do a sales or an infomercial for you, or to do a case study where they actually publish findings and talk a lot about your product or service or nonprofit in that particular case study. So all of these are valid ways for you to get exposure to a broader audience by utilizing a friendly face or an influencer, someone that they already know and trust. Affiliations are another way. Now, affiliations to me means community. These are organizations and associations and customers who represent you or that you represent. Companies who represent you or that you represent. Again, this is community. This is where that particular organization serves a larger population that you want to get exposure to. So for example, if you teach business photography classes, you probably want to have some type of an in or representation in the Professional Photographers Association of America. So you want to look at what industry organizations do your consumers belong to, and how can you be affiliated with those organizations? Sometimes it's a sponsorship. Sometimes it is a membership or a sponsorship level membership. So a lot of times you will want to get involved with that company on a pretty regular basis. And when you do, they're going to provide you with certain things like badges and logos and mentions. All of those are really important for you to highlight in your social media, on your website, in your press releases so that the consumers out there can gain trust by looking at who you are affiliated with, especially if they trust or depend upon that organization. Another thing that you can do is you can look into that organization to see if there's any opportunities for you to get articles published in whatever publications online or offline that they have, or blog posts mentions. Some organizations will highlight or spotlight members or sponsors in their publications as well. All of those are really good assets when it comes to building social proof. The final category I want to talk to you about is credible third-party organizations that are widely trusted and that will do some types of a standards test for your business. In other words, they'll take a look at you and they'll qualify you and give you some type of stamp or seal of approval or certificate that says, hey, we've looked at this particular company and we know that they're a good company, or here's where they rank against other companies. So one organization that I actually do a lot of speaking with and have a rating with is the Better Business Bureau. The Better Business Bureau's certification program, or accredited, that's what it's called, accredited business program, will go and look at a company's background and make sure that they're reputable, make sure that they've been in business for a certain period of time, make sure that they've handled customer complaints correctly if there have been any, make sure that they are an organization that concentrates on doing good things for their customers and making sure that their customers are satisfied. In other words, they're not ripping them off or promising things that they don't deliver. And I believe that this type of a seal or trust really means something to your clients. Now, the Better Business Bureau is of overall businesses, but oftentimes within industries, there are certifications that you can get within your industry that mean something to your consumer base directly. So look in and think about those particular certifications. And when you do, think about the badges and the seals and the icons that come along with them, and be sure to use them. One of the craziest things I see is a lot of times companies will get these certifications from the certifying bodies, and then they never ever use the seals or the badges or all of the visual representations that make them that really make that association worthwhile, that make their membership or whatever they paid for the certification worthwhile. Another type of a certification above and beyond that kind of third-party organization checkpoint is if you've made industry achievements that have been recognized. And those are a great way for you to brag. If you've been recognized inside your industry for an achievement, then by all means, make sure you publish that on your website. Make sure that you add it to your bio. Make sure you add it to your social media and announce it, or maybe even go as far as to do a press release. All of those things, again, show other people, your consumers included, how trustworthy and how reputable and just how good you are as a business owner and how good you are at your job. So brag a little on yourself when you get those things. Oftentimes, organizations that do these third-party standard certifications will offer opportunities for you to maybe be featured in their blog or in a spotlight highlight, or provide you with a system where you can get ratings or further ratings. I encourage you to look at those and see if any of that would possibly work for you. So just to review, we've looked at 4 types of social proof that you can get to build trust in your company. We looked at utilizing your customer relationships, building on your happy customers. We looked at your affiliations. We looked at influencers, and we looked at third-party organizations and certifications. So examine all 4 of those categories within your business and give yourself a little bit of a report card and see if you're fully utilizing all 4 of them to build social proof and trust amongst your consumer base. All right, I do have one more ask this week. I have a brand new app for Be More Business. And the Be More Business app is going to feature Make It Happen Monday, as well as blog posts and other educational videos. I've got some great educational stuff coming out in the very near future. By the way, this is being recorded in April of 2019, but I can guarantee you if it's after this, we're going to have some good stuff for you coming down the lines. So I would love to invite you to download my app. It's called bemorebusiness.com, but go to bemorebiz.com on your on any device, on your iPhone or your Android or your tablet. And when you get there, there will be instructions about how to add the app to your device on the home screen. So it's something called a PWA app, which means that it downloads through an icon where you can access it, but all the information is hosted out on the web, so it won't even take up space on your device. So I encourage you to maybe join me there. We're going to start having some really good community things as the community gets bigger, and I want to do as much as I can to support you in building your business and becoming more successful at your marketing as well as your entrepreneurial journey. All right, have a great week, and I will see you next Monday.